Just because Games Workshop's missing a trick on its range doesn't mean you have to. Nowadays we're lucky enough to be able to access hobby gear from all over the world. But can you really turn your back on Games Workshop? And should you? So no mucking about. This is a Gundam artifact. It's one of 5 models in this collection, which is in itself the 3rd such release so far from Japanese Colossus Bandai. Each one is a scale version of a classic Gundam model. Each comes in its own cardboard box with sprues, with build instructions included, and they cost around $7 each. Yes, I said $7. Wait, sorry to go on about this, but just to hammer that home, this is a 50+ piece sprue that fits together perfectly for $7. Oh, and it's articulated too. There's no weird mould lines, no strange artifacts on the model, just a banging mini for less than a burger. And just so we're clear, Games Workshop have been releasing some epic models recently too, with some amazing characters from the lore like Dante. But he costs $45. And listen, despite evidence to the contrary here, I'm not actually ragging on Games Workshop. They make amazing models, the lore's incredible, and they've done more for the wargaming community than almost any other brand. The point of this video is just to shed some perspective on other options that are out there. And these Gundam models are really, really nice. I've linked them below if you're interested. Throughout the video I'll highlight lots of other products while I build this guy, and trust me when I say that Gunpla is just the start. I do love a nipper, and the Chinese and Japanese have got this market sewn up. Now don't get me wrong here, the ones from Games Workshop are actually really good, but they cost more and they don't outperform the Asian ones, despite the fact they're made there, which is kind of ironic. This is black plastic cement from Mr. Hobby. It's pretty simple in its application. It's literally just plastic cement with a black dye inside so that you can see the glue wherever you've applied it. Word of warning though, it's pretty potent stuff. More potent than Tamiya Extra Thin, for example. Practically that means it dries out a little faster, so applying it can take a bit of practice. That's got good and bad bits, but it's mainly good. Here's a little assembly montage, and then we'll talk about it. Wait, stop there. This is the perfect shot to show you what I mean. You can clearly see all the black lines that show you everything's glued, but also anywhere that black stuff has spilled onto the surface of the model is somewhere that needs to be cleaned up. Who needs recessed shading anyway? When I was last back in Manchester, I found this amazing little shop, Kanusai? I hope I'm pronouncing that right, which is a specialist Gunpla store that's well worth a visit if you're in the area. While I was there, the owner showed me this too. It's a paint shaker, but it's got a clamp, so you can hold any shape of pot and leave it shaking away, hands-free. No more percussive injuries for me. Thank you very much. A big thanks to the owner for filming this for me. And if you're not local, I've linked to his web store, which is down below. Local gaming stores like this really need your support, so if you're able to, then give his site a visit and say hi from me. Next up, I want to show you some printing. And to do that, I want to thank the sponsors of this video, Voxel Dance. Now, just in case having a sponsor on the video makes you a little bit suspicious about my motives, the reason I decided to work with these guys was because they told me about a really cool project they had coming up. FND have an amazing new Kickstarter coming, recreating historical Ming and Qing dynasty Chinese warriors for resin printers. I think this period of history is absolutely fascinating, and to see the models rendered out in such detail blows my mind. If you want to check out the Kickstarter, it's linked below, but for me, I want to see the models. And that means setting up Voxel Dance Tango. Now I'll be honest, before they approached me I'd never heard of Voxel Dance, but then again I'm very much a 3D printing noob, and it turns out they're quite a big deal. They've big partnerships with companies like Elegoo and have some awesome tutorials online. Oh, and they make some pretty incredible 3D printing software. Because it's paid for software, there are no ads, but to set it up you can download the free trial which is linked below. Just download it, select your printer, select your resin, and tweak the settings as you need to. Head to the advanced settings to set the anti-aliasing, then drop in your files as you would do with any other slicing software. All the usual features are there, along with lots I haven't explored yet, but my favourite ones are the hollow function and this neat little slider. to show the render layer by layer. Once you're done, export and print. Thank you to Voxel Dance for sponsoring this video. Don't think I'd forgotten about that airbrush from last video, but before we get there, I want to show you something else really cool. I think it'd be a strange old video on Asian tech if I didn't happen to mention stuff like laser cutters and 3D printers. An influx of affordable hobby tech from China is causing a boom in the hobby industry at the moment that's really exciting. But for some reason Games Workshop is staying away from it, and that just seems like a miss. I've been able to use products like this curing station from Uniformation to automate some of the more laborious steps in 3D printing. There's links to all these products in the description below and a much more in-depth review coming, so make sure you're subscribed. Listen, I know this video comes across a little like an ad read and I'm sorry about that, but I'm lucky enough to get sent stuff from all over the world and some of it's just so awesome I want to tell you about it. Lots of the companies I haven't heard of, but behind them are people just like you and me. Big ol' nerds who love this hobby. And so that's what this is all about really. Connecting people. Giving people options. This box aims to do the same. It's made by Craig Rufy and it's going live on Kickstarter right now. Honestly, working with this team has been absolutely incredible. I've been blown away. From actively engaging in user feedback and trying to develop the product through to setting up user groups in Facebook groups so they can chat and engage, as well as engaging in social media too. It's genuinely been one of the most fun projects I've worked on in a little while. This is product development at its very best. There's 7 parts to the box. The main box with 2 paint cups inside, 2 paint containers and 2 wet palette containers. On top of that are 4 paintbrush holders, 2 of which go outside and 2 of which go inside the paint cup. Oh, and don't forget the textured rubber mats for agitating your brush. Once you open everything up, you'll find instructions, as well as 2 foam sponges and a set of paper pads. The sponges are really impressive because they're 5mm thick. Nice. If you need a space-efficient mini painting storage box and you're on a budget, this is one to seriously consider. Honestly, if 14-year-old me had been able to walk into a Games Workshop store and buy any of this stuff, I'd have been thrilled. But I couldn't. And you still can't, which is why you need to shop all around the place to find the very best kit which enables you to hobby the way you want to. Ladies and gentlemen, if you follow me on social media or watch my other videos, this will come as no surprise. Yes, it's finally here, and after 40 days, was it worth the wait? Yes, it was. Just as a reminder, this airbrush costs $45, which is mad. Now, I don't want to overhype these things because it does feel a little bit cheap, but it is quite cheap, and it comes with lots of accessories, like a quick release valve, so I can just clip it on, clip it off, same as I do with my other brands, as well as 3 different needles, a 0.2, a 0.3 and a 0.5, as well as all the corresponding nozzles to go with it. Amazing. And also 4 different cups. The red one, which has a weird matte finish, which actually makes paint stick to a little bit. Chrome one, which is easier to clean, and then 2 different sizes of cups, which come in really handy if you need to chuck a load of paint over a load of different models. Does it spray? Yes it does. Does it work? Yes it does. To hammer home the point, I'm going to prime my Gunpla now. This is just Pro Acryl Prime, painted as I would do anything else. So a few drops of thinner into the paint just so it gets to a consistency I like, and then apply it in a couple of coats over the model. Yeah, what's not to like about this thing? Now I'll give you a nice natty little shot through the top of my Redgrass Games light for no apparent reason whatsoever, just to show you me stripping it down. And yes, like any airbrush, you need to strip it down at the end of every session. Again, I'd remind you that the parts aren't top quality, but then again, you can buy 4 of these for the price of 1 Harder and Steenbeck airbrush. As ever, my advice is buy the best tool you can afford, but if this is all you can afford, you're not really going to go too far wrong. Thank you for watching all the way through to the end. YouTube is about to suggest a video that it thinks you might like, so by all means click on that at the end. But before we get there, I want to say a huge thank you to everyone who supports me over on Patreon, joins in my Discord server, and is just generally nice to me down in the comments section. It's really appreciated. Thank you so much.